Just because your web host says they support Joomla doesn't necessarily mean that they support Joomla well, or that they even support the current version of Joomla. There's more to consider in a web host than the price. Sometimes web hosts that cost $5 a month are actually more expensive than those that cost $20 a month. Here's some pointers for picking out a good web host. First of all, before you do anything at all, come to this page at joomla.org and make sure you take a look at the technical requirements for running Joomla. And right here on the top of the page, you'll see that we have listed the requirements for Joomla 2.5, 1.7, and 1.6. And underneath of that, we have the requirements listed for Joomla 3. Notice that the minimum requirement for PHP in particular and for MySQL is significantly higher for Joomla 3 than it was for Joomla 2.5. You're going to have to make sure that you have PHP 5.3.1 or higher installed on your web host in order to run Joomla 3. Most web hosts out there are still running PHP 5.2. And while there may be some sort of upgrade mechanism built into some web servers, in some cases you can go through and you can upgrade a particular version of PHP in a folder, you need to be sure that that in fact is possible. If you go with a host that's still running PHP 5.2, you will not even be able to install Joomla 3. So be very, very careful in particular with your version of PHP, but also with your version of MySQL. Secondly, you want to be very, very sure that your host provides great backups. Many hosts do backups, but sometimes those backups are only available to the hosting provider. They're made in case the server catches fire or gets flooded or has another type of catastrophic failure. These backups may not even be available to you. If there are backups available to you, find out how often they're made and how long it takes to restore from backup. Ideally, a daily backup and a weekly backup will be made. The daily backup is a backup of the previous day's website. The weekly backup is made once a week, usually on Sunday, and it's held for a week in case the daily backup fails. Finally, be sure to ask how long it takes to restore from backup if required, what the host considers a valid reason to restore from backup. Some hosts can take days, during which your site is down or broken. Find out if you have access to those backups or if the host alone can access the backups. And find that out long before you ever need a backup from your web host. If you're looking for resources for Joomla web hosting, come to this page at resources.joomla.org. These are Joomla web hosts that have had some basic testing run on them by the Joomla project. And these are places that definitely support Joomla. You'll want to double check with them to make sure that they are still supporting the most recent Joomla hosting requirements. But you can scroll on down this list and you can see many hosts that are listed here. These are great places to go and purchase web hosting. Once again, to reinforce a point, $5 a month hosting sounds like a great deal, but if you wind up pulling your hair out for an hour trying to get Joomla installed, you've just lost money on that deal. So make sure that you are not paying for a super cheap host and that super cheap host doesn't come with backups and it's really hard to work with. It's better to pay a little bit more money so that you can work with Joomla easily, that you have backups that you can access when you need them, because the day will come when you need those backups and you'll be so glad that you did. So make sure that you take a look here at some great Joomla web hosts that are recommended here on the Joomla resources directory. Make sure they support the most recent version of PHP and you'll be all set for hosting your Joomla website.